Good morning, grade 9. I'm so glad uh, to share with you our topic for today, which is The Happy Prince by Oscar Wilde. So I hope that you are all doing well. Since we haven't met for 3 days, I decided to record a video about our lesson. So today we are diving into a beautiful and poignant story by Oscar Wilde, The Happy Prince. So this is not just any fairy tale, it is a story filled with compassion, sacrifice, and the true meaning of seeing beyond ourselves. In The Happy Prince, Wilde uses vivid imagery and heartfelt characters to explore themes in social injustice, empathy, and the power of selfless love. As we journey through the tale of a gilded statue and a little swallow, prepare to be moved by their acts of kindness and the profound impact they have on the lives of those around them. So let's open our hearts and minds as we rediscover the Happy Prince together. And I hope this story will not only captivate you but also inspire you to reflect on how we can all make a difference in the world, no matter how small. So let's start. So to start with the author. Okay, so Oscar Wilde or Oscar Fingal O'Flaherty Wells Wilde, born on October 16, 1854 in Dublin, Ireland, and died November 30, 1900 in Paris, France, stands as one of the most celebrated figures in English literature. His Irish heritage and upbringing within a prominent Anglo Irish family provided a foundation for his later intellectual pursuits. A classical education nurtured first at Trinity College, Dublin, and subsequently at Magdalen College instilled him a deep appreciation for the arts and a profound interest in aesthetics. This academic journey culminated in a strong commitment to the aesthetic movement, a philosophy emphasizing art for art's sake, a principle that would significantly influence his creative output and life choices. This emphasis on beauty and artistic expression rather than moral or didactic concerns permitted his writing and shape his public persona, making him a captivating and often controversial figure. Following his education, Oscar Wilde moved to London, quickly establishing himself as a celebrated figure in both literary and social circles. His exceptional wit, flamboyant style, and insightful social commentary captivated audiences and critics alike. His literary output was diverse and prolific, encompassing poetry and fairy tales such as The Happy Prince, which subtly explored moral themes. His only novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, that was written on 1890, remains a controversial masterpiece delving into the complexities of beauty, morality, and the corrupting influence of unchecked desires. However, Wilde's greatest fame arguably rests on his plays, including Lady Windermere's Fan, An Ideal Husband, and The Importance of Being Earnest. So these works are renowned for their sparkling dialogue, sharp satirical observations of Victorian society, and enduring comedic brilliance, solidifying his position as a master of wit and a social commentary. Despite his considerable success, Wilde's life took a tragic turn. His homosexuality is actually illegal in Victorian England, led to his arrest and imprisonment in 1895 on charges of gross indecency. So this deeply traumatic experience profoundly impacted both his personal life and his artistic output. While incarcerated, while incar- um, while incarcerated, he wrote De Profundis, a long letter reflecting on his imprisonment. His about This is all about his regrets and his um, evolving understanding of himself and the world. And then after that, upon his release, he lived in self-imposed exile in France. Yeah. But forever marked by the social stigma and legal persecution he had endured. This period of exile produced the Ballad of Reading Gaol, or Ballad of Reading Gaol, a powerful poem that serves as a testament to his prison experience and a condemnation of the injustices of the legal system. Though he died early or prematurely at the age of 46 in 1900, Wilde's literary legacy remains remarkably strong. His works continue to be studied. It it was being performed and also adopted, making him not only a significant figure in English literature, but also a powerful symbol of artistic defiance and the enduring strength of individual expression in the face of societal oppression. Okay, so that was all about the author. Okay, so let us now proceed with the plot, the plot of the story. So Oscar Wilde's The Happy Prince, it unfolds around a magnificent gilded statue of the prince, perched high above the city he overlooks. And initially, the prince is reflecting his golden exterior. He is content with his opulent existence. However, this superficial happiness is shattered as he begins to witness the poverty and suffering of his city's inhabitants from his privileged vantage point. So a profound transformation occurs within the prince, prompting him to enlist the help of a swallow who delays his migratory journey out of compassion to distribute his precious jewels and adornments to the needy. So each act of generosity strips away the prince's golden splendor, leaving him ultimately devoid of his precious materials and tarnished. The swallow, who is exhausted from its selfless work, dies at the prince's feet. The story concludes with both the prince and the swallow being taken to heaven, where their selfless acts are finally acknowledged and rewarded, highlighting the true value of compassion and sacrifice. Let us now proceed with the setting of the story. So, the setting of the story plays a crucial role in conveying the story's central themes. So, the narrative or the story unfolds primarily within a large city, starkly presented as a place of both breathtaking beauty and abject misery. This juxtaposition, the contrast between the opulent palace and the squalid, um, impoverished streets, is essential to the story's impact, highlighting the vast inequalities that exist within society. The Happy Prince statue is positioned prominently atop a column, offers a unique and symbolic perspective, providing a bird's eye view of this stark social division. So, this elevated viewpoint allows the prince to witness all the sufferings of the poor and underscores the indifference of the wealthy, thereby emphasizing the moral failings of the privileged class. And then finally, the contrasting setting of heaven serves as a powerful counterpoint representing the ultimate reward for selfless acts and offering a hopeful resolution to the suffering witnessed throughout the story. So the stark contrast between the earthly city and the heaven realm reinforces the story's message about the true nature of happiness and, of course, again, the importance of compassion. So let us now talk about the characters in the story. So we have here the characters: the prince, the swallow, the city's inhabitants, and the mayor. So the characters in the story, the Happy Prince, are carefully crafted to represent contrasting aspects of human nature and societal structures. So the Happy Prince, which is a gilded statue, initially embodies obliviousness to suffering, reflecting the superficiality of wealth and privilege. However, he undergoes a profound transformation, becoming selfless and compassionate as he witnesses the plight of the city's poor. And then the swallow is a loyal and compassionate bird, embodies self sacrifice, choosing to forego his natural migratory because the swallow is going to migrate to other city because of the weather. Ayan. So choosing to forego his natural migratory journey to aid the prince. So in contrast to these central figures, the city's inhabitants represent a collective of the poor and downtrodden, highlighting the social injustices and inequalities that permeate the cities. So they are not individualized characters, but rather a symbol of collective suffering. And then finally, the mayor, though a minor character, he serves as a potent representation of the indifference and lack of compassion exhibited by the wealthy and powerful toward the less fortunate, further emphasizing the story's critique of social inequality. And so the interplay between these characters vividly demonstrates the moral and social themes at the heart of Wilde's tale. Okay, so let us now talk about the prince. The themes of the Happy Prince, and the themes of the Happy Prince. So we have here compassion and sacrifice, social injustice, appearance versus reality, the value of selflessness, and death and the afterlife. So the story explores several interwoven themes that contribute to its enduring power. So, central to the narrative is the importance of compassion and self sacrifice, vividly embodied by both the happy prince and the swallow, who willingly relinquish their comfort and even their lives for the benefit of others. So, the story sharply critiques social injustice by showcasing the stark contrast between opulent wealth and abject poverty, emphasizing the callous indifference of the privileged towards the suffering of the marginalized or the poor people. So the happy prince's initial gilded happiness is revealed to be superficial, highlighting the discrepancy between outward appearance and inner reality. So his transformation demonstrates that the true happiness stems from selfless action rather than material possession. Then ultimately, the tale champions the value of selflessness, asserting that true worth is not measured by material wealth but by compassionate acts and dedicated service. Even the deaths of the prince and the swallow are also presented um, not as tragic endings but as transitions to a higher plane of existence where their goodness is finally recognized and rewarded, offering a message of hope and affirmation for selfless deeds. Okay, next is um, the moral lesson. So let's delve deeper into the moral lessons of Oscar Wilde's The Happy Prince. So true happiness stems from selfless service, not material possessions. So the story directly challenges the pursuit of happiness through material wealth. So the happy prince, initially content with his golden exterior, finds true joy only after he sheds his riches to alleviate the suffering of others. So these highlights that genuine happiness is not found in self-indulgence or the accumulation of material goods, but in the act of giving and contributing to the well-being of others. So this lesson transcends simple altruism. It suggests a fundamental shift in values, prioritizing compassion and empathy over personal gain. Compassion and empathy are not actually merely desirable, but it is essential. So the story doesn't just advocate for compassion, it demonstrates its necessity. So the prince's transformation is driven by his newfound empathy for the suffering he witnesses. So the swallow's unwavering loyalty and willingness to sacrifice his own needs for the sake of others further reinforce this moral imperative. So the tale implies that a lack of compassion is a moral failing, leading to indifference and the perpetuation of suffering. It implicitly argues that empathy is not optional but a crucial component of a moral and fulfilling life. So even our small acts of kindness can create a ripple effect. So like for example, the prince and the swallow's actions, however seemingly small in the grand scheme of things, collectively make a significant difference in the lives of many individuals. So these emphasizes the power of cumulative kindness and the idea that even seemingly insignificant gestures of compassion can have a profound and lasting impact on the lives of others. So the story suggests that kindness isn't about grand gestures alone, but it is also about consistent, the everyday act of caring and consistency. This selflessness and sacrifice, though though demanding, these are ultimately rewarding. So while the prince and the swallow suffer losses, the prince loses his beauty and the swallow sacrifices his life. So their actions are not presented as tragic. Instead, their deaths are portrayed as a transition to a higher state of being where their selfless deeds are recognized and rewarded. So this suggests that the rewards of selflessness are not always immediate or material. They can be spiritual, moral, or even found in the knowledge that one has made a positive impact on the world. The reward lies not in earthly gain, but in the intrinsic value of their actions. And then social inequalities, of course, demand awareness and action. So the stark contrast between the opulent palace and the impoverished streets serves as a powerful critic of social injustice. So the story doesn't shy away from depicting the harsh realities of poverty and the indifference of the wealthy. It implicitly calls on readers to become aware of these inequalities and to take action to address them. It is not enough to observe suffering. Active engagement and a commitment to alleviating it are morally imperative. So the story urges a shift from passive observation to active participation in creating a more just and equitable society. Okay, so that's it for the story. So I hope that you enjoyed our lesson, and I hope that you are taking down notes because I'm going to check that when we met. Thank you so much, grade 9, and have a nice day.